Time to spin the wheel of dread, goblin friend.
Son of a frickin' warlock,
Hiccup says as he approaches the wheel.
Just get it over with, Feetwix tells him, so we can take our turns.
Hiccup swallows hard as he approaches the disc. He moves it up and down a little bit just to judge its weight, sucks in a deep breath, and finally gives it his best spin. The series of items blur past a red pointer that marks the stop spot. They become more distinct as the disc slows, and just as it looks like the red arrow is going to land on ? It skips over and lands on the image of a bone. Hiccup draws his axe and his small shield.
You want a bone, huh? Come and take it.
The ink shadow suddenly fills the cathedral all the way up to the rafters.
By agreeing to this game,
He announces in a deep and booming voice,
you have entered into a legally binding magical contract with me. You of all people should have known this, goblin.
Me and my friends never played with no magical contracts.
I'm not your friend,
the ink shadow chaffs. With that, Hiccup's right arm completely disappears. No blood, no violence, no nothing. It's gone as if it never existed. Hiccup cries out and pats the place where his arm used to be.
Fick! He frickin' took it! You ficker! And that was my favorite wanking arm!
Feetwix and Ryuk both make the ew face at this revelation. Hiccup slumps his shoulders, drops his chin to his chest, and shuffles over to one of the pews. He lies on his back, his blank and staring gaze focused on nothing as he puts his remaining hand on the spot where his arm used to be. Feetwix takes a few steps back and crouches beside him. As he speaks to the de-armed goblin, Ryuk picks up the dice.
Let's get this over with.
The ink shadow diminishes to its former size.
Remember, the three of you have to survive. That's all. Losing a limb isn't as bad as it seems.
Like thick it isn't,
Hiccup moans. Ryuk rolls the 3 dice. 3, 3, 3.
I win again!
The ink shadow does a brief but tasteful end-zone celebratory dance.
Looks like you are on the path to losing, commoner.
Ryuk curses under his breath as he moves over to the disc. He places both hands on it and gives it the type of spin that would definitely give him an edge in the showcase showdowns of the past. The wheel of dread spins and shows no sign of slowing down for a good 10 seconds. Eventually, digital gravity takes hold and the wheel begins to slow. The red arrow just barely passes the peg separating the skull and the question mark, where it settles. The ink shadow sulks for a moment.
All right,
he finally mumbles.
What's your question?
Okay,
Ryuk says.
I have one question that I think you may be able to answer.
Go on.
Recently, NPCs have begun attacking people in the real world over their iNet feeds. What do you know about this?
The ink shadow recoils. The temperature inside the cathedral drops, and what's left of the stainless glass windows vibrate and rattle. Suddenly, whole sections break free and whirl around the circle of pews before they shatter on the floor. For the briefest fraction of a second, Ryuk glimpses a robed figure outside the cathedral, its form outlined in green magic. He blinks, and the form is gone. The ink shadow appears behind Ryuk and whispers in his ear,
There are larger forces in play here. You'll know the answer to your question soon enough.
He reappears next to the spinning disc as if nothing has happened. Even as the windows rattle and the ground shakes, he invites Feetwix to roll the die.
Your turn, Berserker.
That's not an answer,
Ryuk protests.
That's the best I'm allowed to give you.
The ink shadow subvocalizes. Then, in a louder voice says,
You! Overcoat! Your turn!
As soon as the Swede scoops up the dice, everything reverts to its pre-question state. Feetwix rolls the dice between his palms and casts them at his feet. 3, 2, 5.
10, an even number. Double ups,
he says, using the word Hiccup used earlier to roll again. This time, he blows on the die a few times before letting them go. 5, 1, 1.
7!
The ink shadow's form lifts into the air and settles.
Ready to roll the wheel of dread?